As I have heard, at one time the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of Vulture Peak Mountain with a great gathering of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the samadhi of the many aspects of phenomena called profound appearance. At the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, saw the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, "How should a son of the lineage train who wishes to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom?" Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva answered the Venerable Sharadvati Putra with these words. Shariputra, those men and women of the lineage who wish to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look at it like this. The five skandhas should be seen purely in their natural emptiness. Form is empty. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form also is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness, and having no characteristics, they are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no phenomena. There is no quality of sight and so on until no quality of mind and no quality of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance, and so on, up to no old age and death and no exhaustion of old age and death. In the same way, there is no suffering, no origin, no ending, and no path. No wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide by means of the profound perfection of wisdom. And since their minds have no obscurations, they have no fear. Transcending falsity, they attain nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell on the three times have relied upon the perfection of wisdom and have become true and complete Buddhas of unsurpassable, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the profound perfection of wisdom, the mantra of insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for it is not deceptive. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Teata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhi soha. Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and said to the bodhisattva mahasattva noble Avalokiteshvara that he had spoken well. Well done, O son of the lineage, it is so. O son of the lineage, since it is just so, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Sharadvati Putra and noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva and the entire gathering, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One.
Male Shija Chijen Sebedo, To Shaji Zo Dela Sowa, Toje Chenpo De She Doje Chang, Jose Delo Bada Naro, Pejo Jobe Bada Ade Shang, Nyale Shilo Jilo Sowa, Sangpa Tome Yenye Nangzhe, Chode Deye Dedan Chobe, Zela Gosa Lenye Sunema, Yaje Shibe Jela Sowane, Yaya Yume Shunje Lujuna, Dawa Jaba Shibe Kujoje, Sanje Kujo Baba Yase So, Sama Daye Jela Sowane, Shidu Dabe Chonga Adesha, Gada Debe Mebo Jode, Nejo Noje Kuchi Sola So, Gada Nama Nala Sowane, Anje Shinde Zoje Zonga Mo, Mado Rebe Washu Jesoje, Doma Debe Dabo Kejoje, Yose Juba Jala Sowane, Josun Gunde Lama Doje Chang, Kala Gande Shenye Suzone, Chodan Tumo Mujun Zuzede, Treje Lama Nala Sowane, Raja Soro Gula Daye, Geza Taba Jube Jowacho, Sewe Jube Daken Zebaye, Sanze Shenye Nala Sowane, Jewa Gundo Yanda Namano, Jeme Chuje Bela Nojeje, Sadana Jayade Rodone, Doje Jange Gom, Yado Jo Sanje Jodan Soje Jonana, Jancho Bodo Dane Jozo, Dage Chuje Jebe Sonaje, Rola Peshe Sanje Joba Sho Sanje, Jodan Soje Jonana, Jancho Bodo Dane Jozo, Dage Chuje Jebe Sonaje, Rola Peshe Sanje Joba Sho Sanje, Yodan Soje Chonana, Sancho Bodo Dane Jozo, Dage Chuje Jebe Sonaje, Rola Peshe Sanje Joba Sho. Ay, ay, 다만 저기 최천년 제비 거봐 최천년 제비 거봐 가르래 살아이나로 내가서 다다 소소게 내당 세나리 가서게 내당으로 질렀다는다 그 쇼게야노 그다만이지 로동데 거기 내다지 있잖아 지 시정한지 조지 된체지 바로 질러대 콘처로 되게 거치 리도 이제 된시 얘나 되게지게 다다 발로 대바래 아니 다다볼 깔에 잡아래 시키지 제나라 아주 먼저 로트 주간데서 다지 좀 가지고 근데 요선지 땅에 깔에 다다볼 제샤야 되게 그 코아서 코드 샤마도로 코라지 저도마도 코라텔에 지는 기회면 됐어 안타오나 텔에 기회지 요나 메나스네 신주지 제소나 아니 다 텔에 기회 생에데 다 생기 되지 토는 게나마도 주보 되게 내다라 코드마도 기회가 다시 지는 매버지 네 하고서나 아니 저기 라와진다 지 세고에나 더 나오지도 세로다 코아텔에 개고에나서나 지 타니도 코아스나 타니 제레마도 단단 가서 내내 텔지 개고에나 아니 최친의 이거는 근데 개는마도 다시 제 매로
One should understand the purpose of listening to the teachings for the purpose of expounding the teachings of the Dharma. By examining our current situation, we have been in this situation for 40, 50, 60, 70 years now. Although it has passed those numbers of years, if we were to look at and trace what we have done, we did a lot. Right from the beginning of one's day until one retired at night, we have been doing all sorts of things. Irrespective of what kind of activities that one may have undertaken for those years, we haven't done nothing more than revolving within the cyclic existence, which results revolving within the cyclic existence. And we're unable to transcend oneself. We're unable to transcend ourselves from this revolving of cyclic existence. So now, how do we really, transcend ourselves, from this cyclic life? So this can only be done through mental development. And when we talk about mental development can take place only by relying upon the teachings of the Dharma and practice of the Dharma. So now, if you look at this world, we all witness the unconceivable development of the science has taken place. Regardless of how much the development of the science that may have taken place on this planet Earth, it is only limited on the materialistic category, and so will not enable. It doesn't become a cause for transiting oneself from cyclic life. Now, the transition, how do we really transit oneself from the cyclic life? It's only by developing the quality of mind, the mental quality. And the mental quality can be developed by engaging in the practice individually. And if no one else can practice for oneself and then develop one's mental and gain certain mental development, the mental development others practice and knowledge will not become one's mental development. So quality of mental development. The quality of mental development will take place only if one engages in the practice and how and put an effort of how do we develop the our mental quality.
년도 되는 가르치선 단도 취착이 가슴은 가세야 되는 미 시절에 개도 로투에 말았어요. 따로와 단도 미 시절에 개버치 로거나 나시에 돈에 이제 당 것이 되게 되다 보면 들으면 되게 돼.
So regardless of how much, the sophisticated equipments or the missions that may have developed by the scientists, and this is only limited to the human knowledge. Now, if we long to achieve the knowledge that is beyond human knowledge, that requires a mental development.
대신 당아서 주시 제목가지 간제 던져지게 초유도는 내가 저기 뭐는 지 랑텐시에다 맨라오게 템버 투비 오버스인데 내가 저기 시자 당제 라티 찌르라진데 시바 내리 차다명이 간제 던져지게 템버지 펴바지 다니 제거래 던져기 산제랑인데 시자 다니스게 맞잖아요 코노게네 데모 뒤속에 남대 제상에 대다가 저기 내는 하저제와 인자네 던져기 템버 투비 오버데 지미바지 아니 대지선랑이 년에 전에 알레 총선생이 남도 토는 손등에 랑게 제자 자이라미 바예 니 집에 담바데스 강가 이제 나가라요 뭐냐나 이슈등에 지미바지.
So now, the Buddha who actually have gone beyond this cyclic life by realizing all phenomena are seen on the palm of his hand. So now this cannot be, demonstrated by the teachings that he has given in the past, present, and future, whatever the teaching that he has given, and who followed his teachings, and numerous great beings who followed his teachings and gained these realizations, the realization of development of mental quality. So now let's begin our teachings by shaping our motivations, by visualizing Buddha, Shakyamuni, and surrounded by all other lineage gurus, not just not as a image, but rather try to think that they are actually being present in person, an actual person, rather than just an image on the space, in the space before oneself. Sorry.
The Druidian and danger shindela. Randa Ranyambe, Tensen, and a combat chundeta secretary. And if Kashu can't be called a Chichukosona, Kanga Samaja or Jera. The Druidian, Randa Ranyage, Sojan Business in and Javachi Tandala Saja, Donachi, Pombi Tandala Saja, and Tande Matsonji Jolo and Setangana, Taihene, Yeji, Monechi, Sambano, Chichona, the Ganale. That may he can't training at the city of Honsale, because that is a contract in Jessan in the Chigi, and socializing, so no what you to Jenna, and the Drechi to Norola. Dechi said my rotation, in that the Drechi swatting with another Kamachi needs Chimibachida.
So then now, imagine that being oneself in their presence, just as someone who is so thirsty and rushing for a water. Similar that we're imagining that oneself being in their presence and so thirsty for their teachings. And then thinking that by means of receiving these teachings, may I be able to engage in activities that are beneficial for all other beings. And then try to extend one's compassion towards other sentient beings who are undergoing tremendous amount of sufferings. Let's, with this thought, let's take 2 minutes.
Ay, that's it. That's the good. Tajina he change your good go, but the rich you know, Lola. And then change again, tune. Jason Tanchi, ne, Matson, maybe Deva. And Donga long also job as a Kansachi, Sun, Jay, Yanager, Batriba, said. And when they sent a Madawi, the Shanchu Langi was an Lari changing a lama to the money, the Driggy Chuchi and Jaravata, but shit in the near cover is an house of Kaji Chegba. Monsieur Roji letter, when Yanaching a consult to Hana, Monsieur Tanaji, Tanya Chegri, or the Jabachita. Amazon Rojina, Chichu, and the Shiji Media and Sane, what do you chat over Chijimato, the Driggy Nolo labels on the Sonachi Lamachio. The Shuichi Tacham Nagri, the Yanaching.
With this positive thoughts, one is then receiving the teachings, the great deities on the stages of the path of enlightenment by Lama Tsongkhapa. And there is a teachings which encapsulates the teachings, all the teachings of the Buddhas, all the Buddha's teachings, or the essence of all the teachings of the Dharma. So it is so fortunate for all of us to be able to receive such a precious teachings. It is, the many great practitioners would say that, and this is such a, inconceivable teachings that is, the great teacher Lama Tsongkhapa has given. And those who are really engaging in this practice, and when they become themselves, completely immerse into these teachings, will really see the benefits of engaging in such teachings. So although that we are unable to become or immersion into these teachings, we try our best to really to have a proper understanding of the meanings and have a proper motivations of following these teachings and practicing.
That's such a understand such a Chukun Simba Division, Chawa, Malaki, Chawa, Chawan, the Division, and she did the show, Nambango, how much the tree in Baji, or Tija de Chison Sharachi.
So we'll begin as usual, by reading those 4 major outlines, which starts from the greatness of the authors given in order to show the teachings as noble souls, and showing the greatness of the teachings in order to engender respect for the teachings, and how to listen to the teachings in which both teachings and its authors are great. and the sequence in which the disciples are to be taught the actual instructions.
다시 발언이 런치서 신의 대비자다 되는 로치다지 아니 다 동물이서 당론 되는 로치다지 발언이 대대는 님보는 비시 그거다 님보제다는 비치니 동물이서 또 님보제다는 비치라니 런치 나자라 님보제서다 님보는 뭐지 다 동물이서 다 님보는 정말로서 주변 청년다 대모에 나지를 만나서 주변 제다 주변 챔피언 나지를 만나서 네 제지 다 동물이서 다 주변 챔피언 나지를 만나서 네 제라서 대전은 주변고 세계 코나데 뭐 세대 제다 주변 세계는 쇼발로 동물이서 더 동물로서 세계는 로발로 말 선발로서 세계는 로발로 비슷해서 로발에로 산제문도 로발로 비슷 바니시 바지 동물이서 다 선발하니 테바체버 절로로다 체바도 도제 테바로 세지 다 동물로서 상세지 로발 한대장 장내 저세지 넘버서 존에 제단에 비추지 동물이서 다 존에 제단에 비추라니 강라로 무슨 강라로 비제 델로바다 비제 델로 제다로 비제 바지 다 동물이서 다 델로 제다로 비제 바니 슈바절로 저데 체바도 파세 타마냐로 세지 다 동물이서 다 파세 타마냐로 세라니 세나로 제다 하통로 세지 다 동물이서 다 하통로 세라지 송지 원시인스 하통就做点吧하통就라도요 하통 비제 강배 하통도 비제지 다 동벌 서지 송에 되네 장애지 장화당에 비든 아마 무슨 지네 르르지 뭐 버티게 봐 대관에 되나 봐 당가서 하통 되나 봐지 돼야래 네 뮤직이 사지 되는 줄로 사지 말라나
So we're on the chapter of the teachings of the on special insight on Hakdong.
되지 당가서 하통들 도뭔가 소소하게 빼나 다 하통 강비 걸해데 신의特色비 강사치 임에 시작되지로 그 로톤전의 시작으로 로톤세죠 시작으로
So if someone who is engaging in practice of Hakdong or the special insight, and such individual is said to be the practice of this Hakdong or the special insight must be taken on the basis of perfecting one's practice on shamatha or the serenity. So in this particular context, when we talk about Hakdong or the special insight or Hakdong refers to the wisdom realizing emptiness.
다 돈이 또 별하던서 시에데 하나 돈반이 생긴게 유지고 간데레 니 산적이 담바다 손도 된데 간데레서서나 아니 또네 장화도 예비되어서 이렇게 시어라 아니 녀대질 돈이 땡 로질 녀대저 도세 그 말이 유종질 녀대 도세 그래 텔레진 베땡에 텔레 장대저 도세 그래 아니 그래서 장대저 도세에 산적이 손대에 다 담바다 손대에 공부 간데 그래서 장애지
So then now, since we are on the chapter of insight, the special insight, which we talked about earlier, it talks about wisdom realizing emptiness. So this is the case, and Buddha has given numerous teachings, and how do we actually determine which teachings are the teachings that actually explicitly teaches the meaning of emptiness? It is for this, then we have there are three outlines that we have covered during last sessions, which talks about identifying the scriptures of provisional and definite meanings. So here now, what kind of teachings that can be accepted as a definite meaning, and what kind of teachings that can be accepted as a provisional meaning? So if one is able to understand the provisional meaning and the definite meanings, then one will be able to understand which teachings that explicitly teaches the emptiness, and which teachings that explicitly teaches the method aspect.
당가서 거스 봐봐 아니 단단 점을 인데가라 temba tubi ambogi jenrangi nololo omi tawa tenla pemete tang gobolu se de yodaro ta yezana ngaso ge Lam Rim Chenmo de khong kan de tore si jesen dogore ne jaga yo lobe kan da kangi jesen dogore se de kasu babare tanda ngaso kasu babare.
So as we all know that, apart from Buddha Shakyamuni, the individual who actually propound the precise middle way standpoint is Arya Nagarjuna. So therefore, now we are here. Now we are on the particular chapter that talks about the teachings that we find here at the middle way in this particular in this chapter of special insight. Which great teacher that actually this teaching actually follows.
당가서 게 베세타 먹게 토는 온고블루르기 마 제타르지마 먼저 정해나 아니 파발하된 고블루르디 지바 지장 저그래 세기 지제 아니 다 대이노 오마 라지바다 탄조와서는 니시 대이노 오마 탄지기 따와 땅나 방이 로벤 소데 아니 로벤 산제잖아 바된 다와 잡아니 레세데 다 라루기 베리 다당가서 제도
So now here we are precisely following in this the teachings on emptiness in this particular teachings and the special insight, following the great teachers such as Nagarjuna and Arya Deva. They are the spiritual son and the father, and then particularly that the particular THs that we are following, and Lama Tsongkhapa was written in this particular text in accordance with the Buddha Palita and Chantakriti.
Ai, ta chu ta mo shi na chu da sa ta mo go chi da. Ta kha se ngani de ba kan ri chu ji se ti ngo ga yi sans.
Lawo.
Ta ge ma su lo ge to ba. To kan ri chu ji she da ji khe ba na omma ba la ta jo wa da ra ji ba ni je ta ne she ba ne chi se da tyun be ran zo ma sa mo an so do. De jian sa ji do. De na ta ne de na 타네도 슈르 드민드 니스게바 담바 tombaninge tawa jila chipchi gone and mendona taranisngeba yeno so.
Now let's read through the text. It is page 116. We have it's in the fifth paragraph, I guess. As scholars of the later dissemination of the Buddhist teachings to the snowland of Tibet use the term Prasangika and Savatantika for different types of Madhyamikas. Since this agrees with the Chantakrita's clear words, Prasanapada, you should not suppose that it is their own fabrication.
This 당가서 되는 지는 이제 다지변나 오마라지발의 시대시비 오마라지발의 시대 메시비 오마라지베 니레 로베생 로벨레데제데 가르사 시대시 미싱에 되지 아니 내조셔 뭐 시와서의 시행에지 되니리지 다 오마 타지가세데 다 단지 강이 라지발의 로스 이 대유한데 내가 가투 월사서나 싫어던데 시바 간실라 아니 라신 쪽 디자인에 봐서는 오마 탄지기 따와래 마도 시메시에 전에 시나요 오마 발리니스 장에 월송도 하대.
So in the mathematical philosophers, there are the mathematical masters who actually accepts the external phenomena and there are Madhyamaka masters who asserts who do not accept external phenomena. And then when it comes to the Madhyamaka Prasangika, although the Madhyamaka Prasangika accepts the external phenomena, they reject the intrinsic identity or intrinsic existence across the board.
Tawajula Chesiji on the Shana Young Air said, Tomamazo, Jeda Tombaki Jutama was said the Taiwan and Josi the Carasona, and it tended Tarai to any Jutawoma, the Gama Mizia, the Gama Mizia, any Gami Pena Omar Rachibi, Tawali Bicola, any Third Batani Majana, Jitanchi, Dembatuba Yamarisala. And Rasin Chupasio say you did the chain Omatanjo Leodi. Kaje Jutamo was about the Oma, the Gama Gama, your top in the Chibian on the Shanaya, and Taran is thank you, etc.
So, here the teachings that Buddha has given in the many different philosophical views of different philosophical standpoints. All of these teachings that Buddha has given is intended towards, intended towards having a precise understanding of the middle way. Just by going through the teachings or the practicing of the lower views doesn't mean that you will remain in lower views. But the lower views, by means of engaging in the practice of the lower views, will become a stepping stone for moving forward to the higher views and so forth. And finally, this understanding of those views, the different views, will then take oneself to the understanding of the ultimate middle way, which is the Madhyamaka Prasangika and so on. And the reason why the Buddha has given all those different teachings are based on the different mentality and the dispositions of his followers.
Tell what they were saying. Tender Tarai going to Jogorilla and the use. When a Topet Tazan tender saying the dentist Tomotero, Tanjo Tatus. Teranjiba Magic Kenneth to work. So
now it is given based on the teaching, the subtleties of the dependent originations. Subtleties of the dependent originations. When it comes to the subtleties of the most subtlest level of dependent originations is mere imputation of the name, imputation of concept and the term and name. And this is the subtlemost teachings of dependent originations. Such standpoint cannot be, cannot be digested by the other philosophical tenets. In other words, the below Madhyamaka Swartanteka and so forth.
Papa Yasi Gumbatsu Nanas, George and Robert Dawa Trabi, Lula Zon Zepa, Naui, Jason Dane, Daman de Lama Koma Chamber Naja, Lute Zon Zeba, Robert Dawa Trabi, Ne, Sashi and Jesse Najanan, Robert Sanje Janje, Papi Gumba Yosu, Zoba Treva, Sine, Lute Jinjojin, Robert Leden Jejian. Lepa Sheba Mamboshi Langla, Joseph Meteba Nama, Nan Sushone, Papi Gumban Jeba Zeba, Mother Zeto, Loben Denijin Jeba, Najet, Nane Papa Yasiji, Jo Chebala, Chip Pidishon, Toyana, Dene, Loben Sanja, the body and Dawatravi, Jason Dane, Papi Gumba Tena Baba, in Tena Baba Shao or something.
So, Is therefore all Madhyamakas are included within the types. Those within two types. Those who do not, those who do, and those who do not assert external objects in conventional term. If they were distinguished in terms of how they develop within their mind state, the view that is sudden knowledge of emptiness, the ultimate, then again, they are all included within two types, Prasangika and Savatantika. Following whom did those masters seek to understand that what the noble Nagarjuna and his spiritual son Aryadeva intended. The great elder Atisha considered the system of the master Chandrakriti to be the main Madhyamaka system. Seeing this, the great gurus of the past who followed Atisha in giving personal instructions on the stages of the path also took Chandrakriti's system as the main system. The master Chandrakriti saw that among the commentaries on the Nagarjuna's fundamental treatises on the middle way, Mula Madhya, Magga Karika, it is the master Buddha Palita who had fully elucidated what the noble Arya Nagarjuna intended. So he commented on the noble Arya Nagarjuna's intended meaning using his system as the basis. He also took many good explanation from the master Baba Viveka while refuting those that seemed a little inaccurate in as much as the commentaries of the master Buddha Palita and the glorious Chandrakriti see to be excellent explanation of the text of the noble Arya Nagarjuna and his spiritual son Aryadeva. I'll follow them in the meaning determination about the noble Arya Nagarjuna's intent.
that's it. Lam Rim Chenmo yi shangchu langzhe shangchu langzhe zebo po chuoji ro yin zane chuoji paden adisha ye dawa zuo kongdo sa de paden dawa zhabi lu kongdo wu sa do ji ta ji.
So the teachings of the great teachers on the stages of the path to enlightenment. It is the root text of these teachings is the Adisha Divankara Shirijana's lamp for the path to enlightenment. Adisha Divankara Shirijana's the lamp for the path to enlightenment is completely written in accordance with the teachings of Chandrakriti's teaching.
That's it. And paden dawa zhabi mare chewe paden dawa zhaba da sanje jangme mare do paden dawa zhaba yomi dawa din la bebe ko la ne sanje jangje gongpa de zo che ne leden je de che da jebo ipe ji ne se yin da se do ya de se oma rangji bi dawa din la bebe kan xia la yang zang zang me te ba de ne mo se ga ba me je je ma zo tian duo seng ji de wo ro oma kono no le che de ni ne gon chen ne bi tan ji seng zo ba ji le ge de mo cha de leden je ji gongpa la 공발내는 텐지세고 간제다 오미다 이걸 사제장도 시작해 아니 레덴제 이걸 아니 레차레잖아 아니 매도 아니 수진버세디 아니 수진비토네 아니 오미다 마메버지 때나 페버레 송도아 받는다 잡이.
So Chandrakriti has actually written a great commentaries on the Nagarjuna's thought on middle way by following the commentaries given by the Buddha Palita. And so then, of course, there are also the commentaries commentated by the Baba Viveka. Although the Baba Viveka is a Madhyamaka philosopher and Madhyamaka teacher, Madhyamaka master, he is said to be the Madhyamaka Suvatantika, belongs to the category, the Madhyamaka Suvatantika in the tenets. So here now, when Chandrakriti commentating on the teachings of the Nagarjuna, and he also followed the commentaries written by, particularly written by the Buddha Palita, and also, Baba Viveka. Although that there are some, assertions that is asserted by the Baba Vivekas are rejected by the Chandrakriti. There are many other elucidations that are very, becomes a very contributory factor for his writings. So he took many of the teachings, the commentaries, also from Baba Viveka, although that he rejects some of his views.
다 저런 시간 가지고 뒤질러 되더라. 전에 진루촌이 시작하기 전에 쇼래 왔다라 첨범에 지킨래 시대 장서. 소아인데 나 조지기 랑정이 되버려서는데 조지기 대서지도 텔레폰에 경계돼 말어. 제네 반는 시주 코로나는 패딩이 지로 인터넷 디송도 타마들 법은 되니진제 빠나진나네 파바여 쓰지 좀 치고 표도 좀 통해나 근데네 법에 산제잖아 버든 다와저비 제선도네 법이 공부된라 바바 샤워 소디 제 코로나이라는 데와.
Therefore, at the end, Lama Tsongkhapa has stated that in as much as the commentaries of the Master Buddha Palita and the glorious Chandrakriti are seen to be the excellent explanation of the text of the Noble Arya Nagarjuna and his spiritual son Aryadeva, I will follow them in making determination about what the Noble Arya Nagarjuna intended. So as you know, that Lama Tsongkhapa is always, whatever the teachings that he has given, whatever the commentary that he may commented on, is very much based on the great Indian masters, such as the Sixth Ornament and Two Supremes. So therefore, the way that Lama Tsongkhapa writes a commentary on those great Indian masters' treatises are something that really lights you up. It uplifts you, and you will see there's no room for darkness. It's always, the way he elucidated, it's so illuminating. It's such an illuminating way of explaining and commentating on the teachings of the great Indian masters.
Sumba Tombani Tela Babi Tsula Nile, the Konani Jubi Rimbatan, the Konani Tela Beba, Mosoji. Tombaden the Toba Shai, the Konani Yangilan Deba Gani, the Toba Shibi Top, the Konani Lan Juba, Jendrashiki Gon Juba, Yinyana, Shadanagi, Yinyana, so the Alete Tepa the Tuanaji.
Now, the stages of entry into reality. How to determine the philosophical view of emptiness. This has two parts. The stages of entry into reality, the actual determination of reality. And so the stages of the entry into reality is first it raises a question. Nirvana is the reality one seek to attain. But what is nirvana? If entering into reality means a method for the entering it, then how do we enter?
So the
Dekhanani in Tibetan, which literally means the suchness, which is referring to emptiness. And when it when the term that we use, Dekonani, which is suchness, and then it actually entails there's no other meaning, of emptiness rather than the suchness or the thusness.
그래서 저쪽에 인지 계획은 다들 되게 미시. 맞아. 배는 bomba 니레세 bomba레세 백하가로. bomba레세 잘라잖아 여면되고 bomba 니레세 뭐 찬시요. 그럼
So let's take an example. If you say the empty vase, then your understanding is just an empty vase, right? But then if you say the emptiness of vase, then that completely changes its meaning, and it makes you probe further. What does it mean by emptiness of vase? If we were to compare these two, empty vase and emptiness of vase, that really the two different terms really makes us to probe into it. It really makes us to examine what does it mean. Well, it's already talked about vase, empty vase, but then emptiness of vase. That makes it more.
당가서 터자기 때 코난이 가르르서는 축구도 가르르서 나와야 돼. 변화가서 사지적 걸로 추적거 세대다 냥가기 카티자는 로에기 타투기 해야 돼. 너무 추적거 세대려고. 변한데는 대대 터버셔 이때 코난이 냥엘레데 봐 가르르서 돼. 아니 추적거 때 가르르. 추적거 세대 내가 말루비기 춘이지 거라고 줄 거고로. 대 가르르서 돼. 이게 너무 적어.
So here now, what is meant by attaining how to enter? How do we, achieve the nirvana? It's nirvana here in this particular context. The nirvana refers to the Dharmakaya. Dharmakaya can only be attained by means of having realization of emptiness.
되죠. 다대결례적으로 시도는 게 난소 뭐 대코나니 많이 이제데 대코나니도 나와 데레 말에 대탕지 나와 대탕지 바자다 제바 녀와시베 다든 다게원 점바 넘버 탕지도 세번 데레 터버 샤이 대코나니지 추주고 어선도 들리지를 추주고서 송으레스.
So therefore, now the answer to that question is saying that the reality that you seek to attain the embodiment of the truth is a total extinction of the conceptions of the both self and that which belongs to the self, specifically by stopping all the various internal and external phenomena from appearing as though they were reality itself, which they are not, along with the latent predisposition for such false appearance. The stages by which you enter the reality as follows: first, having contemplated in the dismay the faults and disadvantage of the cyclic existence, you should develop wish to be done with it. Then, understanding that you will not overcome unless you overcome the cause, and you reaches its root, and considering there might be the root cause of cyclic existence, you will thereby become a certain of the depth of your heart and rarefying the view of perishing aggregates or ignorance act at the root of cyclic existence. You then need to develop a sincere wish to eliminate that. So the reason why we are unable to enter into reality is because we have a view of believing things that is not a reality. Unreal, we take it as unreal as a real, and something that is not a reality as a reality, which prevents us from entering into reality. So like ourselves, taking myself as an example, that who has not been able to ascertain the selflessness of person, the selflessness of the phenomena, always grasp onto something that does not exist and thinking that it's ultimate existence. Although there are beings that they, eliminate those reflections and enter into the nirvana. To enter into the nirvana, not only enter into the nirvana, but also to achieve Dhammakaya, one needs to eliminate the afflictions, the two afflictions, not only just afflictions, the root afflictions, but also the latents of those afflictions or the propensity of those afflictions. Without elimination of the propensity, without elimination of all two afflictions, along with their propensities, it is not possible for one to achieve Dhammakaya. It is by elimination of afflictions along with their propensities, one will then be able to achieve what we call the Vatartuba, which means the ultimate pureness.
Jita maripa koi tsawan rolu la ngepa tin tabane tromba tone de pomban deba joma mai ba chewa shigo dene jita doba de de zonye dame to bi shira chewa la ralemba tone da mare da de gagoba tonde sondo goba tonde da de yebala neje ta mebi tuje chi londa sepa la tene nyeba shi taba de nyena meto sondo.
So let's see the overcoming that referring view of the perishing depends upon developing the wisdom that knows the self as conceived does not exist. You will then say that you have refuted the self. Be certain in the refutation, relying upon the scriptures and lines of reasoning that contradict its existence and profit non-existence. This is an indispensable techniques for anyone who seeks liberations. After you have thus arrived at the philosophical view that discerns that the self and self that which belongs to the self, like even the shared of intrinsic nature, you should accustom yourself to that, and this will lead to the attainment of the embodiment of the truth. No one. Let's take 10 minutes break here.
Tanyangde mene binyangde dengonzi tanyangde telen jubi rimba kantere salawa yana an tombo ngasu tiji laba na yi tombo dude koyi nyemi de san dude ni koyi nyemi san yu si donghen la sun kaza yu sun ba de chi yung ani dene gyunju koyi jurin de san gore se de tawarang se taji tande tabande me ho kaza chen cheche la ani donghe koyi nyemi de san gyunju koyi jurin de san gore yes.
So someone who has a genuine wish to achieve nirvana must first understand the faults of cyclic existence, and how this origin of all perpetuates our life within cyclic existence.
Then jitan dendo jitan mari ba koyi zawan ro lu nge ba den ta ba go le se ni ne nga so jita se na nga so yang la jun yin no yu to me mari ba la ni jita se gre mari ba se ra kwa la to me mari ba de go se yo ati je tu je ne re se yo se ni da u ni je.
So here we talked about the refined view of perishing aggregates. It is it refers to the refined view of perishing aggregates refers to the ignorance that we find, the ignorance that is the first chain of troublings or dependent originations.
Jita singe de jita ina inchi miji de yengore nga da nga yo an zimbi sanare jita ina inchi miji rangji jing nga de da du zhuban zingore yana rang nga ne rangji zhuban zing yana nga yo ate ne nga yo ate long shio bo ro chi jita yin chinche la inchi miji nga zin jita yengore nga zi se gro sholo gi pomba rangji zhuban zimba da da mare.
So that's refined view of perishing agriculture is the view that views itself as a inherent existence, or the which that belongs to the self are inherent existence, and we are not. It is not something that your view of inherent existence of the vast and pillars and so forth are not a referring view of perishing aggregates.
Jita ina mari pa yin jita yin go mare pomba rangin juban zimba de mari pare da ini jita mare jita ina nga tanji sewa na yi nga da nga yo karon la mi ne ni nga rangin juban zing.
So this view of perishing aggregates, as we talked about earlier, it's only relating to the self grasping and grasping at mind or my, not the external, grasping at external phenomena such as birds and so forth, are not considered as a view of perishing aggregate.
당가서는 지다랑 지지되비 내 당연히 변화서나 지금 되잖아요. 마요서나 근데 가서 코너 온데 변한 가이 콤바 가이 라바 가이 콤바서는 같이 마요라랑 시지지 되고 생각해요. 제발 다가니 가이 콤바 가이 라바 가이 지지 생각해서 간가 마요라는 온비에 뭐보실래 당고보는 되거든. 라니를 온비 뭐보실래 마요서 타니작으로 내가 가이를 생각지. 차차사시나 다 무슨 도비 온데 떠나 나요 알아 라지 두고 생각해요. 해주기 생각해서 나요 라바 나요 콤바 나요 미 나요 나 생각.
So, it is again to be clear that perishing aggregate, the view of perishing aggregate, is a view of self and that which belongs to the self, such as my hand, my leg, my, limbs, and so on and so forth.
대체 나도 나요서 지티기 미지 나도 나요서 타니도 여봐 전에 그래. 그때 저는 나도 나요서도 여러 타니도.
Although those self and those self and which that belongs to the self exists, nominally, but then they do not exist, they lack ultimate existence, in other words.
대체 근데 영한 지타도 요요데 나도 나쇼게 생각이 차단제 아니 델레젠베션라 야와신도게데 만주 요메라 라랭도 아마서 하고 그래. 왜냐 근데 나이레세도 자치모징에 근데 나이미나 야나 야와통에 야나 막사제나 콜로 다수제 그래서 그 만진 지타 콜로 요메라 라랭
So all those, dislike and likes, and that experience that we have are very much based upon, this view of perishing aggregates. The perishing aggregate is the root cause of like and dislike for us. It is because of this perishing aggregates, the view of this perishing aggregates, when you say that this is mine and I like it, and you have a certain way of looking at that particular object. Even think about certain object that you made that belongs to you. If you think this is mine, and you have a different feeling towards that, even though that same object that belongs to someone else, then even though that's the same object, but that your way or your feelings is completely different. So that is why this happens because of the view of self-cherishing, the self view of perishing aggregates.
지타 코이 자원조세세든 지타 차단기 자원조세들라 고안에서는 다라리 그러 되게 에너지가 싸위나.
So this can be understood as we talked about the view of perishing aggregate is the root cause of our cyclic existence. It's because this view of perishing aggregate, as long as you have this view of perishing aggregates, that will then open a door for the arisal of all this attachment and aversion.
근데 이제 생각에 몇번 속 그것도 세대 이 타반에 몇번 소원이 제와이나 아니 되게 도쇼 아니 지타 매바 지타긴 지타라 로바인 바데 건 단질로이 바 거의 자와집이 요소도 때 코난이 많이 진데 때 코난 집이 로바데 시소나 로바데 이 도쇼 유노비네시 생에달라 다음에 또 베시라서 그렇대 메타 매바지 시소나 아니 간사때 되니는 주야기 되발해그러.
So if one wants to get rid of the view of perishing aggregates, a sincere wish to get rid of the view of perishing aggregate from the depth of one's heart, then one should make an effort to understand the non-existence of the object or mode of apprehension of the view of perishing aggregates, because otherwise without having without being able to, properly refute or the negates this, mode of, the object or the mode of apprehension of this view of perishing aggregates, one will not be able to, eliminate the view of perishing aggregates. So one will not be able to then gain liberations.
Tendriki sana chidon, yana ji bena da yobala neji, ene da mebala duje sa sanyundi, ne matsoki bena yu, sosoki nama naki yitino yobate, mane tenten resha sina, sosola taji to dense kare. Ne matso tomba naki yu bena nga singe de zemba naki lo de shemba naki tempo chi yoro jena kanya chi yamani. Kopate meme lundu sonre ma tashi tempo shu yobane chiro. Tanda nga zonla di kanya dan ramada dedu mogo shivichi tsuwa le dedu jisa karsana ko rangwa meba, tene meba. Jile tene yobi kola zanda yawarin zanda dugoro. Ma tenba chi sosoke samba naki chi yosona kanya chi yomara ko jamba de jire.
So therefore it says one should always work towards to reify this existence of the self, and how to by means of reifying and by means of refuting the existence of the self, how one can then be able to establish the selflessness of existence of the selfnesses. So this will really make us understand how things really exist, including self, right? Because if things that exist as it appears to oneself, if self that exists appears as it appears to oneself, then we'll have no problem at all. We're not going to have any problems if that exists as if it appears, as it appears to our conception and our ordinary mind. However, it's not so. That everything that we go through, all kind of chaoses, situation, the chaos situation, is because the self that exists is not independently existent, but it dependent upon others.
Yeah. ane tendriki chorangi zomba naki ki me pala dushe karen do sana ane temba tube ambo no zo de ta jawa ki pendu pe kanche ki pendu yanso zoba ki choran zomba naki chi yute no yo mane so ye ta long set da temba yore ta tela sosu ki ripe ki cheba che tu na ane daro atene long de ripa ninga ki to ne ane da yo pala ne ji ane me pala dushe senge de ta ta ni ki tenso na ane lo la denki ba ji le go.
So therefore now how do we really, have this knowledge of understanding of the selflessness? For that, then we talked about earlier that one should try to understand if the self that exists, if the self that if the self that really exists as it appears to ourselves. This is the initial stage of investigating whether the self exists as it as existence of the self or selflessness. So this can be done by relying upon the great sources of the teachings given, the source of the teachings given by the great Indian masters. And not only just by relying upon that, but whatever the teachings that they have given, one must, take a keen interest in knowing that and going through a critical analysis of the teachings that they have given.
타바 되는 가사 찔레는 주비 рем발런데 메타메서도 영화 중에 대진시에나 가서 대진 배바선에 고시 뭔가질라 시제도서 도등이 님이 시제어 말해서 되게 뭔가래도 와 다치 답이 표현시 전제시에는 년에 제로 전화다 되게래다 때 맞아나데 맞소게 도대 코인 님이다 견주 코인 조련이데 마상하제 아니 공랑이 주기는 니가 예 배치 공도 쳐두고야나 근데 된데 손에 들어 타바 되는 게 진짜라 단지기 님이도 거의 님이도 산나 마타와 인체라 될 타빌로도 이런 시야 거야 말와 될 탄데 줄로 마이나 될 탄데지 라네 진 두고 말와.
So without having, you know, if one has a, proper motivations of achieving liberation, then there's no other methods or ways of achieving that rather than first understanding how, understanding the false of secular existence or the suffering nature of secular existence, how the origin of all or the, origin of our suffering perpetuate our sufferings, our existence within the secular existence, and how can we really, act towards to overcoming of this, false of secular existence and reverse those origin of origin of all, how one can reverse. And so just by, sometimes some instructors might say that, well, one should not give the teachings of, first two noble truths, which is suffering and the origin of suffering, because this is not really suitable for the people who have never heard about it. And but rather you should teach more like cessation of suffering and the path that leads to the cessation of suffering, which is not really the right way of teaching, because if one is really have a genuine motivation of achieving liberations, then what really makes us, what really prevents us from achieving that liberation must know first. And those, in order to know that, we should know that the origin of the sufferings and how the suffering coming into beings, how this origin of suffering perpetuates our existence of this secular existence, so on. With this understanding, then one can find a way of getting out of that by applying the antidote towards that.
대단히나 메타메 소리 되는 게 될라 쇼셔만도 되게 용초고여도 지제는 가서 되는 에시아다 시제 넘바는 부서 로저제도 너무도 하나 다 뒤선된다고 그러지면 나만 맞서도 동나보는 때 다치 때서 니다 동거서 동네 로저제로 시제는 양 되게 그 교회에서 말이야 번에 제 당신분의 시는 로저제도 되게 그 용용에서 되지면 봐 얘는 바 dengi 바 타바되는 데서나 간데 차비 있는 것이만.
So certainly, we should not really, it is not realistic to really, by relying upon the teachings of just only path and the cessation alone will, overcome our life within the secular existence. Because in order to do that, we should know first of all to what is happening, why that really, what really prevents us from, achieving the path which leads to cessation. When such question is asked, then the understanding of the suffering nature of secular existence, and then how this origin of all perpetuate our secular life is indispensable.
되지. 너무 더 개발된 데나 인초로 배나 맞춰 상주생이 편조조선에 상주생지를 제게 다시 했던 동 깔래정인들을 라는데 야 민디어면도다 저 대마치 추여선 타바스나 가르려서 희지 여친절라 동행이 되시마저 타바스도 고아들 네트워크 그러면와 타바스나 가르려 타바스에 아니 단신 깨체도 마시 담에도 싫어 시사건 말하다.
Although there might be some very skilled masters or the teachers who may be able to, help their followers, their disciples, to generate a certain level of bodhicitta, the realization of bodhicitta, by giving benefits on the bodhicittas, explanation of bodhicittas, and so on. When it comes to the liberation or tattva or moksha, then explanation without going through the explanation of suffering, it is completely not possible for one to have a genuine wish to overcome this, or to wish to achieve liberations.
that's it. That law you join to sell so sana to be chamber. Be parable here the judge mata chene. Ni rani ye lani chitu ye sona, pare the two sona that the dejimaranga. So rantin let them be quick in Yimis on the Tande Julochi Macheva, Gentil will be Shanchus and you must see the son. Thomas Dajen Jebish Ranchis in Yimita Gentil the daughter die. You pay Jita Jenny maybe the hope the Kashanchus sent to Yanamana. That is a tire.
So it is something that we need to examine ourselves, whether it is possible for one to attain bodhicitta by not, cultivating a disenchantment towards cyclic life of oneself. And this can be examined, there may be possibility that someone may be able to generate bodhicitta without doing that. But it looks like very difficult, right? Even bodhicitta, speaking about bodhicitta, there's some text it says, without having cultivated the strong disenchantment which cyclic existence one's own cyclic life, there's no way that one can generate bodhicitta that can extend towards others. So this, this can be examined by oneself whether there is possibility or not.
The Nambi Chugan, Norgigan, Naka Chishute, Tapa Motor Jetting Soda. Tapa Motor Jet, the daughter to Madu, told the Tapa Motor Jenamado, Yonsa Konoya Marwa. Digana, Nieju Yosamba Shanchu, Nieju Samba Changela, Nisak the Tapa Tenology Gure, Taji Tawa the Tawa the Koyana Mana, Kaje dancing singing Nimitan, tell a Tapa singing, Meta Mebachi, Rotantavarwa. So
therefore, it's if one does an introduction of liberation, and the introduction of liberation must be done on the basis of whether there's an existence of the self or not, self that exists as it appears to oneself. And this will then be followed by the teachings on renunciations. And when it comes to the teachings on renunciations, the renunciation cannot be taught by going through the explanation of suffering nature of cyclic existence.
메타게 데 가래가샤 딱 고에데 아니 나초테로아 다징 문제시나 세네리 코알 코에게 아니 중 문제시나리 쟁 문제시나 된지기 토나라 신주제도 소스 겔란도아 인지미디 존치모 로제체 게체스케레문도.
So most of us as ordinary beings, we become so complacent of what we our mundane facilities that we may have. And 99% of us, in other words, in this planet Earth, just talking about human beings, 99% of us become so complacent of what we have, such as the mundane facilities, such as name, fame, or food, shelter, and so forth. We become so complacent of that, and then we're not looking beyond that attributes. So now, it is time for us to really examine, what really binds us, not going beyond this mundane existence or the cyclic existence. It is really true. Right from the name, the cyclic existence is something that is very, practical for us. We are cycling, revolving within one existence. Think about our routine of our day-to-day life, right from the beginning, right from the morning, from the beginning of our life, at the end, till you retire at night. We're going through a same cycle, revolving. We are revolving within this, and we're not looking beyond that, right? Why this is happening is because we're not really analyzing ourselves. Is there any way that we can get out of this cycle? And in order to do that, we should understand that what really prevents us. What are those obstacles that really prevents us from not letting us be free of this cyclic existence?
tawa tenla pe sebi kala ji nga tsu deba yin ko tsu chulu ra se de ke de na ma na gi jin me ma de tawa tenla pe se de tawa si sonda so so ge juta de kene de le jinsen do me do kan re me de dana me so ge de zamli me kan re ani de le jin bi ge chulu gi kene gi juta de kan re do me do jinsen do me do se de tawa nang ju pe je to ne ni jo ta tu nge se de ta ambo nombo ge do ka ji ro.
So here now, we really need to, the reason I'm going through this explanation is because at this point, we are going through this ultimate nature of reality. We are going through the teachings or the instructions on the ultimate nature of reality. In order to understand the ultimate nature of reality, one should understand that view, or the view of middle way. So view of middle way. So now this view should be, one, how do we really adopt such a view? And this achievement of view will take place if one really know that things exist beyond that. There is another dimension of existence rather than that appears to ourselves. And this must be understood and taken very seriously and investigated by oneself. So therefore, this should be done on the basis of one's wisdom, the wisdom, what is thoroughly discerns, what thoroughly discerns the ontological status of the object under analysis. This kind of wisdom must be achieved, and this kind of wisdom must be applied to understand how things really are. So it is therefore, it says now, in the last line of this paragraph, it says, after you have thus arrived at the philosophical view, that discerns that the self and that which belongs to the self, like even a shred of intrinsic nature, you should accustom yourself to that, and this will lead to the attainment of the embodiment of the truth.
there. That is Loy Jung computer. As a Tombo Dame to be Tujunje, then the Sanjuje, and the Ganju Galapena, and the Laton de Che, and Laton Jen Dashla Sondre Nenjujene, and it tenes or the any count non the Satani like ye, and Lobi Jiba Yosa Tapata, Lobi Jibi Pachata Java say because Yingatala, no longer Nahi, Zosuju Chuna, Yonsuba de la Petile Java Nahi, Dayan. Rani ki tanda nga tsona ji zu se de rapa chi dang sheba senge de jolo le yone men ha mo go je tenu mi ba che ani yonsu zo ba de shibi dang le zhun ro chi cha wu ro.
So therefore, one should first in order to achieve such a philosophical view, which philosophical view, in order the perfect philosophical view, first one must listen to the teachings of selflessness. This will then be followed by the contemplation on the selflessness. And then one can further one's contemplation to meditation on selflessness. And such meditation will then become an integrated part of, serenity and special insight, which enables one to eradicate one's advantageous afflictions along with their propensities, will then enables one to attain what we call the embodiment of truth, which is referring to the to Dharmakaya.
Dongbing Chuchu Sing Jero, Dongbing Zudo, Gua Canadesa, Jansen, Dongbing Chuchu Sage. Taran Chuchu Sona, many go to UMS and Re, Sonju Senare, Kajet, Kendriki Dongbing Hole, any Dijaki Shawachi Tungich. Yonsu go to UMS in the Chayumadi, Kendriki Sona Giletung and Chagri Kanjeta.
So it is through such practice, contemplation and meditation, one will then have a good understanding or good grasp on within the emptiness, within the sphere of emptiness, one arises in certain form, such as deity and so forth, and with this understanding, one will then lead to a further understanding of the possibility of achievement of the unity of body and mind. Sungju.
Tandanga Sungi Bena Shipa Senare, Namchu Senate, but the Zambali Yonsu Zoba in Natsu Gunman, Gaudibs and Endibsonage. That the Juba Yonsu Tabata Nebugal and Zambali counted on the Matabisonage. Matsu Gendo Gil Pejangena.
So if we were to take an example of ourselves at this point, our intellect and our intelligence, our intelligence are almost like suppressed by the mundane world itself. We are remaining beneath that. But once you have awakened yourself by understanding how self really exists, how things really exist, then you are not just remaining beneath that, beneath the earth or beneath this secular existence, but rather you are above that, and so that you can gaze, entirety, the totality of this phenomena, and then you will be able to know that you'll be able to know how all things really exist. It is not that you are making an effort and looking upward, but that you can look downward, being above those secular existence.
Get a Nyomoban Nanta, Ledan, Luna, Jeba Bodan, Jebanam de Teda Tanzania, the Konani Maiji, Venja to see Chongchela, Sobata, the Konani Maiji, the Shibana, the Konani, the number now, Yena. Young, there the Konani, 강시 인 대코나니는 주버 지다 인시나 주버 샤데 나도 시용보 마미바 당 마미베 나도 시다든 짐바 당 다게완 짐바 나바 탄제드 세반데네 대코나니 또 대코나니는 주바네 뉴모제나 말레지소나 대바드 칠로라지다
Now the Chandrakirti's clear word says, questions. You say that all of these afflictions, karma, bodies, agents, and effects are not reality. Still, though they are not reality, they appears to the childish in the guise of reality, like a phantom city and so forth. Phantom city, okay. As you are,
만주바 치
like last and the test your kid. Could it did and desert on get the test chick mother as you go shut that in the Indo Tami Konas Mikava and the Lord Devramendo. The phantom city, it's actually referring to the city of Gandharva and so forth. And if this is so, then what is reality and how do you enter that reality? It says reply. Reality is the total extinction of the conception of both self and that which belongs to the self in regard to the internal and external. This being as a result of the non-apprehension of internal and external things. As for entry to reality, look into the commentaries of the Middle Way by the Mathematical Avatara, which states.
아니 지지 총체선나 따뜻이야 메시 간지 던지기 지 존에 따비기 총체때 총체만에라 제네 니 다다발레 레가 젠데 데로와 대긴 걸로 센데 데로와
So we are unfortunately remaining under the influences of our view that believing that things that appears to us is real. That is the problem with us. Although that's everything's an event, down to the atoms and molecules. There's no such things that actually exist intrinsically. They are all like a non-inherent existence, illusion-like non-inherent existence. That we as ordinary beings, when we grasp onto it and we think that really exists, and that is the cause of all our problems.
베나 단지 시바나기 도나바나기 세데 베나 가속이 댕기지 가이도치라 가이 많이 바랬어요 말이야. 가이데 가속이 코로 가이 예랑시 코로레 셀레게바 코로 경비 네셀레 셀레게바 드다네. 코로 유치데 땡신 라운드 마두바게 아니 지 임바 간시지라 가속데 템바 된창제네. 바 자체 자코로 벌려게네 레게젠데.
So here, this is what it happens. It talks about earlier that it says like appears to the childish in the guise of reality, like phantom city and so forth, right? Let's take an example of the cup in front of oneself. The cup in front of oneself. We're not talking about the cup in front of oneself is not a cup. This is not what we are talking about. There is a cup. We're not rejecting the existence of the cup in front of oneself. What we are rejecting here is actual mode of existence of this cup. This is what we are rejecting here. This is what we should understand, how this cup, the nature of this cup is existence. The actual mode of existence of this cup must be understood. Because we are actually, objectifying. The way we objectify this cup is beyond the reality of this cup.
可能落于现当的落于现当间呢，没得差没办着急，本身点的。对，没得差了，然后所以单就这不的嘛，别人下真这个嘛，落的修其他钱。人我呢，见到俺从有上心，没可能有上心，大去现在没就差嘛。
有些人给送那个，的 save 什么？
但我做落人生，当有毕竟家中我的下边没得人生，当然也得没可能我比那次来年的没得差中着嘛。可说真的，差中着心着那样，你但是真的我那天没得生意，这个落地就要得单位嘛。
So, if one of if that things that really exist, for instance, the cup in front of oneself, it exists as it appears to oneself, and then it should not go through any changes, such as any changes. It regardless of what happened, it may not break and so forth, because the way we look at that cup in front of oneself is that it exists intrinsically. The very intrinsicness of this cup, the very understanding of one's intrinsicness of that cup, and should not be break, right? It should not be broken. So therefore, this is how we always look at everything. Although that things, go through a different transitions, and it go through a different changes. Yet at the same time, we look at that things that really exist inherently.
对，刚刚做给他讲的，当这些，这可能你能就这可能你能就把那什么的，你们讲了嘛？你就做了大连就落于统计的，大年的有的多些年就把大年我把写介绍完了，说别我们就把列在话下午写当说的，写当的别就落下这个东西，这呢年就把这可能你能就把对起，你们把它卷马里吧。热的帮我这把呢，可完的既早饮些，得到年娃多把些了，得到年娃多把呢，可完记错了，大一早建你的同行，大概记错了，到我第没把银把通了，da mami ben jisola tawa panshin te pombe nyoma patang jua mali pa doba tongye ganshi da dun zimbi yu da je shawande jishi je chi toma da kwana la nyawa doba she do she son so chu jen so so wa dang pa do me ba la ranjin gobi ripa toma son jang nenjo pe jupi tsene do du ne da ge wala ranjin me ba ten la be ba ne gamban de ne za shi raye jaje bi tuen yin ba lobe sanje jam ji son ba la te ne loben da wa cha ben je ba yin de oman ju bi gansa ge da me ten ba na jang raye jaje ba ni je ba che ba yin no so
The commentary on the middle way, Mathemagavatara, which says, in their minds, yogis perceive that all afflictions and faults arise from the rarefying view of perishing aggregates. And knowing that the self is the object of that view, they refute the self. Chandrakrita's clear words also says, yogis who wish to enter reality, and who wish to eliminate all afflictions and faults, examine the questions. What does this cyclic existence have as its root? When they thoroughly investigate this, they see the cyclic existence has its root, the rarefying view of the perishing aggregates, and they see that the self is the object observed by the rarefying view of the perishing aggregates. They see that not observing the self leads to the eliminating the rarefying view of perishing aggregates, and that through eliminating that, all afflictions and faults are overcome. Hence, at the very beginning, they examine only the self, asking, what is the self? That is the object of the conception of self. The scripture set forth many arguments refuting the intrinsic existence of the limitless number of individual things. However, when yogis initially engage in the practice, they meditate in the abridged way, determining both the self and that which belongs to the self, like intrinsic nature. The Master Buddhapalita says that this is the meaning of the 18th chapter of Nagarjuna's fundamental treatise. The Master Chandrakirti based his own commentary on this statement by Buddhapalita. Also, the teachings of the selflessness of the person, Chandrakirti's commentary on the middle way, are just extended explanation of the 18th chapter of Nagarjuna's fundamental treatise.
Taji ngaso nyumochana mali jisola sedi taji ngaso laiba jita sengete ene ngaso ge nyumoche kakaki tsawade ten jita res da.
So here, as the Madhyamaka, the Chandrakirti's commentary on the middle way, where it says, in their minds, yogis perceive that all afflictions and all faults arises from the referring view of the perishing aggregates. As we talked earlier, that the referring view of perishing aggregate is the source of all our, shortcomings, such as afflictions and so on.
Nyumoche mali jisola tawa sedi nga rashi chi chupa zingita la jita se la nga rashi chi chupa tashi tempa yinpa te sheyu de nga da nga yawa sedi nga de shengi yawa zene nga la tembi ranyi shu la tembi ki chasen che shen shu la tembi dangsen che chadang la tembi nyuma chanso te le gado jaga na ji donghen la supa te le gari.
So the referring perishing aggregates, the view of referring aggregates, the view that views the self exists intrinsically, or the inherent existence of the self, which then leads to the mind and mind. That actually becomes a basis for the arisal of all those negative thoughts and emotions, such as mind and I towards I, attachment, hatred, and so forth.
Ta tendrige te ta tendrige ne jo pa chi ki ta yin bi ko la ta ni bi ki da ta ni zang de yang ge len de da se ne ta ni zang de bi da de ji ta ki chen yo la song mi yu la song ji ta ki ro po la song ne go lo mo ba je che yo de tendrige ne jo pa te ye ne kasa da de ji ta te pa yin wo re nenjoba da는 거 보시 세대. 아까 제가 저기 단다기 타니 병하데 단지 지디 정 지디 요벌 줘네. 냐다 되게서 돼서 봐 시에데 nenjo바게 아니 최 타니 비다데 자면자 가르치고 강의든 트지 가르치고 해서는 아니 단지 된 거샤고. 가시.
So it is therefore the yogis or the practitioners perceive that all afflictions and faults arises from the referring view of perishing aggregates. So therefore, by seeing that such self, that by understanding the non-existence of the yogis understands that non-existence of the intrinsic self. And by understanding that non-existence of the intrinsic self, then they refute the object itself, object of the view of perishing aggregates.
就是等于那等等我们就会去的养长的不记得，就忙起来就等着长的不了，就是要继续的呢，引导可为了过年都说是偏了。
So this, if you can, either you can highlight or you can, jot down this verse of the middle way. It's a very, very, helpful. If you can also highlight. It can be also highlighted or whatever that's convenient for you. It's a very, very helpful verse.
산제 장도 받은 다와 잡은 얘가 되게 콘도사데 아니 가사 마자시르스네 손도아 근데 개체벌 자시라에 거기에 내가 손도아 그래 저지만
So both Chandrakirti's commentary and Buddha Palita's commentaries are based on the teachings given by the Madhyamaka, Buddha Palita, sorry.
Ne rangin sanje tangchi gi je mari be me base ne ne tonyo to be shila son re ne jo rang jile che ne ne ta sanje tangchi ten de wa to tue ji ane de na she be ne lama damba tu be omba ne rang ge je zai na la shila de she ne ta da ge ne me ka na ba ne jile me ba chi mo chuo se ne mo la de mo ni ga no sha.
I'll list our dedications by means of spending this 2 hours together discussing on this precious teachings on the special insight. May all our ignorance of darkness be dispelled by the merits that we have accumulated by listening to the teachings. And may oneself and all other beings be able to achieve the integrated path of serenity, yoga of serenity and special insight. May all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and one's root gurus be bless me to be able to do this.
送西边叫我当街，我高了就多我把大仙给人早晚就给送不世界绕多我。哎呀，对不起，天就。